Tom Shea. I'm the co-founder of Agile Media Group. Welcome to Season 1 of Driving Performance. I'm joined by Chris Mead and Ron Shaw from Crossnet and Obvi, respectively. Crossnet, the world's first four-way volleyball game. Their signature four-net is now available for volleyball, pickleball, soccer, and the pool. And Obvi, the obvious choice for women's health reimagined to actually taste delicious. Gentlemen, welcome to Driving Performance.
Thanks for having us, man. Appreciate it.
All right, so I want to start this show off how I'm going to start every show off and ask you guys what the hell is going on here. So for the audio-only listeners, what's happening?
In the middle of New York City, like literally having people pass by in one of the most busiest areas in America.
Yeah, I mean, Chris has made at least
insane.
7 friends so far in the hour that we've been waiting.
Chris has sold at least 20 Crossnets.
Yeah.
That's very good. Very cool. Thanks for having us.
You want some product?
Yo, come on, come in.
Well, all right, Ron, Chris, first question for you guys. Do you know each other? How do you know each other? Is there a story there? So take us back. If it's Twitter, I mean it's Twitter, but
it's Twitter. It's social media.
Is it Twitter?
It's Twitter. I met Chris. I think I attended one of his. So Chris throws like a dinner every week. Okay, and he just gets like 50 founders together and like literally bringing our community closer and closer together. So I think I like literally got to be part of one of them, and then from there, he shares a lot of thoughts and is open to building in public,
right,
which is I think something that we embody a lot.
Yeah.
So I love it. I think it really had a similar mindset.
Yeah, and the building public thing I think is part of why I put you guys together. That's something you guys both do so well. So we'll definitely get into that, but just to level set how this show is going to play out, obviously we're in a truck, which is pretty on brand, and there's going to be a few stops on our route. Stop 1, the origin stories. Top 2, some brand-specific questions I prepared. Stop 3, brand intersection questions, so thinking about like things you guys have in common, might have opposite takes on or the same take on. And then stop 4, a segment we call the hot box. And stop 5, which is a bit more literal, but the end, and we'll wrap up there. So, as I was preparing for this podcast, you know, it's clear, especially your father had a big influence on you, was an accountant, clearly molded in his image, at least in the beginning. And, you know, I grew up on Long Island, went to a school that was 50% Indian and Asian. I think it's dangerous to ascribe stereotypes, but there's something about, like, that first-generation immigrant mindset that, like, takes comfort in those very safe, secure opportunities. And I know that's sort of how your journey started, but you know, you look at where you are now. You picked the opposite side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Took
not
the
so obvious side.
Yeah, the not so obvious side, and really just like the riskiest side that you could pursue. And you know, you're at the top of your game. So I'd love to just start at the beginning and talk through, you know, the story of Ron and how that's all come together.
Yeah, I think probably as like a typical South Asian. Again, not to be stereotypical, but I was supposed to be a doctor, or I was supposed to be like super oriented into like accounting, which is where my dad's been. My dad's been at Ernst & Young for 30 years, right? And you
won EY Entrepreneur of the Year, right?
Yes, yeah,
there you
pretty
go.
full circle.
That's a pretty cool moment.
And it was interesting because as I was going through high school, I took an intro to business class, got super interested, and I was like, okay, cool. I think I can go more the accounting route. Okay. So I went to Bentley University with a full scholarship there to become an accountant, and worked at. I did all my internships at Deloitte while I was there. So like fully on track, the Big 4 CPA route. My dad was super, you know, involved in every part of that. And then I graduated college and I moved to New York, and I was living in a building in Jersey City, and in that building at the penthouse level. There was a company that was formulating then, and it was a company called Shreds, and they also owned a company called Flavor God, which is a seasoning company, and Skinny.com, which is a weight loss tea company. Okay, there's a guy named Arvin Lal. He was starting these 3 companies and incubating them kind of in his house. Okay, and there's a few employees and whatnot. I met him in an elevator in that buildking, and my roommate at the time, which is my co-founder today too. We both lived together.
Ash or
That's Ankit. That's Ankit.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys
met
both
later.
3 co-founder teams with one that's just like oddly behind the scenes at all times.
Yeah. That's Ankit for us. So I met him in the elevator, and I was like, oh, so whatever. Did a little bit of networking, and he was like, what do you do? I was like, oh, I'm an accountant. I was working at Deloitte full time. and this and that. He's like, oh, I'm looking for like finance stuff. Do you want to do some like side work? At this point, like I'm 20, like about to turn 21. I'm like, you know what? Why not? Like, let's do it. So explored it. Ankit also was a designer, and he was like, hey, I'm looking for some design work too for some of these companies. We had nothing to know about like D2C, e-com, anything. This is when you had to post on Instagram, and your post would come up first when you post it. Like that was the best marketing. You would post a lot. So this guy was building that engineering that model there. So we started working there, and then when I really enjoying working there, I told my dad, I was like, I think I want to work here full time. They're giving me a job as a controller. So my dad, who was super involved, he's like, I need to meet the founders. So he came to my office. He came to
Dad gets involved.
Yeah, he got involved. He met every founder there. There were three people in the C-suite. Sean Dua, Arvind Lal, and Ankur Garg.
Did they ever tell you what their reaction was to Dad just pulling up to the scene, being like, "Yo, what's good here?"
Yeah, it was like for them, they were like, anything can happen now. So my dad met him, and he was like, "I'm gonna hand you guys over my son, but like, you better like take care of him, you know? Like this can't be something that you just." So anyway, what's really cool there is I think what I like really tailored the rest of my career is we had you were required to work 2 shifts. So everyone lived in the building who worked there, or they moved people into the building. We worked from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. You go home, shower, you come back at 9 p.m., and you work till about 2, 3 a.m., 6 days a week. Your only day off is Saturday.
What?
But we were building a $100 million incubator there. And so I'm thinking about it, you're 21, you don't have much going on in your life. Like, you're down to do it, you know? And like, we were in this ecosystem. We're building one of the fastest growing supplement brands.
Does that exist? Are they still doing that?
No, man.
Can I hire anyone that's willing to do that?
It doesn't exist anymore, but like, it ingrained our work ethic.
Yeah.
What happened to the company?
So the company, Flavor God is still is a $50 million season company still. Shreds, they hired too fast, too much. They spent a lot of money. The good thing that they did is they paid us a lot of money. Right?
Yeah.
Like even when we were young, like because you were working so much.
Yeah, well, but dude, I mean, like,
but the problem is,
oh my god.
12-hour days.
The problem was they didn't understand that when you have a rocket ship growth, you're actually beating the fact that you have seasonality issues. Right? When you have rocket ship growth, nothing can really stop you. And then the first year where you start to plateau, you start feeling seasonality.
Right.
Supplements have a very seasonality element to their business, right? Like
is it skewed towards like New Year, New Me, or?
Well, so New Year, New Me is rocket ship growth, but then from Memorial Day weekend to Labor Day, people don't care, right? They're trying to have fun, they're trying to enjoy.
That's fair.
They've made their body or they haven't.
Yeah.
Okay, and then they'll try again.
It's sort of like a cutoff.
It's a cutoff, right? You've mentally are going to let loose, and then so. They didn't see that
coming. You're playing a lot of Crossnet, you know?
Yeah. You played a lot of Crossnet. So anyway, was there for 3.5 years. I met Ashwin there. He was working under me at that time. Myself, Ankit, and Ashwin, we were like a big part of the engine that grew those 3 companies. We basically left 3.5 years later. And we basically said, all right, we feel like we've been here for 10 years.
Right.
Let's go do something else.
You were there for like 7 if you did.
Yeah, exactly. We did the math. So we left, started a marketing agency from there called Ghost 3 Media, where we wanted to start our own brand, but we felt like we needed to keep learning. Best way to keep learning is start a marketing agency because you can spend other people's money to keep learning. So we spent a lot of other people's money. Some of our best brands were like Venus de Flor, which is a luxury flower company. Sparta Nutrition, Aloha. So we had some good names. We built them up. And then 2019, we were like, all right, we're done building other people 9-figure brands. We have to start doing something on our own because we never took equity.
Yeah.
So we were just building people, and then as soon as our retainers got too expensive, oh, we can handle this.
Yeah,
right. So that was when the birth of Obvi came.
Nice. And how did you land on the name Obvi?
Yeah, so we knew we wanted to stay in supplements because it's like what we knew best. We knew we wanted to sell to women because they're the easiest to sell to in our market. So we have like demo figured out. Then we wanted to know we have to be disruptive. So we're like, collagen has space to be disruptive. Whey protein and pre-workout doesn't, right? You can't do much more to a pre-workout.
Pretty crowded.
It's done. Yeah, there's only so much more you can do to it, and there's only so much more caffeine you can add to a pre-workout, right? So we're like, all right, collagen is cool because it sits in NutraCosmetic, which is cosmetic benefits through nutrition. It kind of lives in health and beauty. Right. So we're like, all right, cool. Collagen seems really boring because it's unflavored, odorless powder by Vital Proteins, and we're like, wait, we can be disruptive. Yeah, smell it. Should be.
Smells like Chocolate covered strawberries.
So yeah, then Ankit was watching. So we knew the product, we knew the target market, everything, and then Ankit, he likes to get baked and like watch movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Same.
And he's like super creative, right?
Right.
He was actually top 25 designers under 25 years old in the US.
Damn.
So he was like, and he's like super like introvert, super creative. But anyway, he was watching Mean Girls, and we were like just thinking about what to name the brand, and we were just coming up with stupid ideas, right?
Right.
Like because there's Ash and I coming up with like some dumb ideas, and then he's like, guys, I got the name. And I kid you not, it was 3 in the morning, he texted us, we're sleeping. 8 a.m. we had a label done, the logo done, all the brand colors done, and he's like, guys, the brand's ready, let me know when you're ready to launch. And it was called, the girls in one of the in movie segments in Mean Girls, they use the word Obvi.
Okay.
Which is a short form of obvious. And he's like, wait, we can play on obvious.
Yeah, there's a lot of play there.
Yeah, like why wouldn't you take our collagen when it's flavored and tastes good versus something unflavored that doesn't taste good?
Yeah.
He was like, so let's just play on this Obvi. It's super girly. People will know it's for females. And then it's also, we can go super horizontal with branding.
Yeah.
What was the first product?
Fruity cereal collagen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's I think the one I like the best.
Yeah,
actually. Does that one just
Fruit Loops.
rip? What's the best performing product?
It's our fruity cereal collagen, and then cocoa cereal's number 2.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right, final question for you, Ron, then I want to switch over to Chris. Can you just talk about the founding team? So I know you met Ash. You met Ankit at that incubating company.
We were in college together.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so take me through the founding team.
Yeah. So the founding team is Ankit, which is the chief brand officer and co-founder.
We don't let people see him though, right?
Yeah, no, we don't let we try not to see him. His jawline's like too perfect, so like there's no point of letting him be seen. So he handles all things marketing, brand design, web development. Incredible creator. And then Ashwin, we met at the incubator. He was also my wife's childhood friend.
Wow.
So that's how the introduction happened. He's a CMO. And handles all things paid media and then marketing. And then my background being ops finance, that's kind of the role I play as CEO and co-founder.
Cool. All right, Chris.
Love it.
Ron has sort of like, I'll say industry insider experience. And, you think about your story. I mean, you have a literal like Moose County to Miami glow up alongside your brand. But I mean, on paper, like, and I mean this honestly, you've had to overcome a lot more than the average person who's had success in this space, and like through so many, so much adversity and challenges, you found yourself here. And like I think you said it yourself, like you never expected that you would be here. So I'd love to hear your side of the story of just how the story for Crossnet came together, and then all the way from everything you had to overcome to get there.
Well, we grew up on a farm in Connecticut, so like a super small farm town. There's one stoplight. There's one restaurant that only sells chicken tenders. And if you want to, it's good. Yeah, they're great. If you want to get gas, you got to drive 25 minutes, and the nearest movie theater is about an hour away. So there's just nothing to do growing up. Like you're just a product of your environment. You're going out. You're having fun. I was actually having dinner with a friend last night. Kind of our like growing up, like making fun out of nothing.
Right.
Is like kind of what led to like us inventing products in sports. Like. Kind of like the game, like don't touch the floor, like the floor is lava. Like,
floor is lava.
Yeah, it was like an 8-hour game for us. But we growing up in that town, dude, I just always wanted to get out. Like I loved like our hometown. I loved going back, but at the same time, I knew it wasn't like what I wanted to do forever.
Right.
And so I went to college to become a film director, actually. So spent my whole life thinking I wanted to make movies and become a director.
What do you think of this?
I love it. It's beautiful. It's great. So I went to college. I got myself into like $200,000 of student loan debt. Just absolutely terrible. And, bro, I worked about one summer on a film set for HBO. And I hated it. I absolutely hated it.
Dude, I studied finance for so long. I was just like, what, dude? This is so off-brand.
It was crazy because I'd be waking up, and it sounds like I'm bitching, but like you'd wake up at 4 in the morning, get to the film set at 5. You'd be working until 9 o'clock.
All right, don't tell the camera people are literally right here.
I know, but this is it. It was just like how I felt at the time.
They literally did that today.
But for me, the thing why it didn't work was because I had $200,000 of debt.
Right.
So I was having to live in Manhattan and pay this $1,500 student loan bill plus the rent in Manhattan.
Yeah, it's a non-starter.
It didn't work, and I was only making right out of college. I was making $15 an hour.
Right.
It was just like the math just didn't add up. Yeah. So I got into a sales job, starting selling software.
Okay.
And that was kind of like my first sales job. I was making good money, 70 grand out of college. I was feeling pretty good about myself, but it wasn't enough.
Right.
And then so, flash forward, I became Uber's first ever salesperson.
Uber? Like
Uber.
Rideshare
Like Uber, yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so I launched Uber Eats.
Wait, dude, are you rich then?
my equity never vested.
Why are you here?
My equity never vested. So I launched,
I
was Uber's first ever sales executive. And I launched Uber Eats in Rhode Island, Boston.
Okay.
So like I'd be like cold calling restaurants, getting them on my app and all that.
Wow. What about Connecticut and the one gas station?
they're still not on Uber Eats. My mom's the #1 Uber in Connecticut, I'll tell you that. So yeah, dude. Long story short, we come home for like fall break or whatever, winter break, and the three of us, so my brother Greg and our childhood friend Mike, were on the couch like brainstorming ideas all night, like how do we get rich? How do we get out of like our current situation?
We did that too. It was like innovation month. Can we figure out in 30 days how to get a ton of cash flow businesses?
Yeah, so we just wrote down a ton of ideas, and they were all pretty terrible.
Yeah.
And then it comes to be like 2 in the morning, and somebody writes down 4-way volleyball, and we all look at each other. We're like, dude, this is like already been taken, right? And we Google, and there's nothing on the internet. Like there's not a single search that's popping up. And so we're like, all right, why not us, right? Like,
did you guys play volleyball?
No, we hated volleyball.
You play Foursquare?
Yeah, we loved Foursquare.
Foursquare was
Foursquare was sick,
good, man.
But then you don't play it like when you get to be like 10.
Which is a shame, by the way.
Yeah, it's sad.
Bring back Foursquare.
We sell it now, baby.
There you go.
Yeah, we were like, yo, why not us? So we like stayed up all night thinking about it. We woke up the next day, like ran to our local like Walmart, bought 2 badminton nets, cut out the center, like rigged it up on the side of like my mom's shed in the garden, and just like texted all the homies and we're like, yo, come over.
Yeah.
And we played for like 5 hours straight. And we just made up the rules like on the spot. It was 4 square in the air, don't let the ball hit in your square. And the coolest thing was like after 5 hours, nobody was about their girlfriends or their job or like what they had to do. We just felt like we were kids again, but we were all like kind of in our early 20s where life was starting to get a little bit hectic.
Yeah.
So with that mindset, we were like, dude, if we just play this for 5 hours, why wouldn't every kid and family in America do that? So that was our proof of concept, and then the business part came.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of Crossnets at my sister's wedding, and to your point, you're absolutely right. I think like any sort of gameplay, and like I love video games, to be honest, and the reason I like them so much, especially we're all founders, right? Like it's the one thing where you can't think about anything else, otherwise you'll be bad at the game.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like so you literally can't focus on anything. So
very true.
I think that's true of Crossnet, of video games, and I'm sure there's plenty of other things. But also want to talk about the founding team.
Yeah.
Much like Ron, it's a 3-person founding team. So your brother, was it Mike?
Mike, yeah.
Mike. So what's the origin story there?
Yeah.
How did you get them all? Like, where were they that you got them to pull them in?
So me and Greg actually used to run a. It's kind of funny. We used to sell hookah tobacco.
Oh.
So hookah, non-tobacco hookah.
Okay.
So my college roommate got me.
We did a lot of that in high school.
Dude, my
Indian
sure, right?
It's huge.
Most of my friends are still doing it.
Yeah.
So my college roommate actually is the one responsible for getting me into all the e-commerce.
Okay.
Came to me one night. He's like, yo, my dad owns a sugarcane like plantation in Jamaica. I'm gonna go to Jamaica. I'm gonna ship over all this. I'm gonna go chop. He's like, I'm gonna chop down all this sugarcane. We're gonna import it to your mom's house in Connecticut. We're gonna take the bins and we're gonna flavor it. We're gonna package it and we're gonna sell it to hookah lounges all across the country.
Okay, all right.
So we called it The King. That was our first e-commerce company.
Wow.
I'd be just like cold calling like Shaquille O'Neal's like hookah lounge in Atlanta, like setting up meetings. And so we shipped this hookah like all across the country, like the shisha.
Yeah,
the shisha all across the country. And
that's wild.
So that was the King swag left? Like
no,
merch?
I have 1 bottle left on my desk. It was kind of sweet.
Probably a little dried, right?
So that was our first route in ecom. But anyway, so my brother, I went and got a real job because I just needed to pay my debt. Greg was 2 years younger than me, so he's still in college.
Right.
He created this thing called the Glunt, which was a glass blunt. It was like the world's most popular glass blunt.
This origin story rips.
Yeah. So my brother, anyway, he's selling a bunch of this glass blunt on WorldStar.com. Like WorldStar's posting it every day.
Dude,
like he's buying meme pages. He's making like a ton of money.
Right.
And I'm like, fuck, what am I doing? I'm working at Uber, cold calling restaurants, and he's sitting on my mom's couch flipping glass blunts and like making $1 million. So, anyways. Our other founder, Mike, we grew up playing soccer together. He was in Greg's grade. Super like smart, nerdy.
So you're the senior man?
I'm the senior guy.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
Dad of the company? Yeah. Let you be in charge, bro.
So Mike's an engineer by trade. Okay. Went to Northeastern, graduated with an engineering degree. So he's like, that was the cool thing. That night was when we started making the volleyball net, the dude's already on AutoCAD, like designing the shit, which was like super helpful. So we didn't have to go source like.
He's your Anka, bro.
Yeah, that's literally
exactly. You guys woke up.
Same person.
Exactly. So exactly.
That's
so
insane.
Whenever we do come up with games, like he's the one drafting it. It cuts out all the cost of like having to like have a product specialist that costs us $20,000 and like. So then that night, dude, we made the game the next day. We pooled all the money in our bank account. Like I withdrew my 401k. We had about like 17 grand across the three of us for our life savings at this time.
I thought the King was, I don't know, King. The glass,
it was doing well.
The glass blunt company was printing money.
It was printing money at the time.
He was probably spending money too,
right? Spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
Spending a lot. Yeah, Greg was doing well at the time, but like we pooled like 17 or maybe it was like 22K into his bank account. Yeah. And we made our first like 50 units. We moved to Miami, so I quit my job. We all moved to this 2-bedroom in Miami. Just like have everybody crashing on the floor.
House,
dude,
right?
It's essentially the incubator.
It's awesome. Yeah. And
you doing double shifts also, like this guy?
No. Yeah, we were working a lot.
You were working a lot, right?
But I'd meet Ron. Ron would come down for a bachelor party or something, and I'd sell it to Ron on the beach for like $70. Right. So I'd have some beer money. I'd have some money for the rent.
You were on the beach slinging product.
You were literally activating it.
Oh, that's so
every day.
Smart.
Because when you look at it, it's like a UFO. You've never seen something like that before. So you stop, you stare, you want to play. But what ended up happening was Ron would take it back to New Jersey, and I'd start getting sales in New Jersey, and I'm like, yo, I haven't been in New Jersey in 25 years. How am I getting sales? Oh, that dude Ron. And it just kept snowballing.
Wow.
That's brilliant.
So, you mean to tell me that I can integrate my shop with you in less than a minute? You store all my inventory across your 50+ fulfillment centers in the US, Canada, UK, Europe, and Australia, and then fulfill all of my orders globally with over a 99% order accuracy rate?
That's right. We do that for over 7,000 brands today.
And you can do that for all my D2C, B2B, and Amazon orders?
Yep.
And when my next TikTok video goes viral or during the holiday rush, you can grow with me forever?
Yes, again.
Dang. That's the ship, Bob.
Check out ShipBob at shipbob.com to unlock your fulfillment provider that acts as your personal chief supply chain officer.
So, stop two. I want to get into some like brand specific questions, and Chris, I'm gonna keep it with you for now.
Yeah.
But you lead sales and marketing for the organization, and I want to talk about, and it's a good transition from what you just said, the complexities of selling like a new to world concept. And I think we sort of had that with Agile, right? It was like we'd get into these meetings, we'd have to sell people on the benefits of out of home. Then we had to sell the benefits of our format. And then we had to sell that it's tech enabled and has attribution. And it's not to say you don't have that same issue, Ron, but like people can figure out what your product is quickly, and if they can't, they'll pick it up, and they can.
Then shame on our branding.
Right. But that's not true for Crossnet, and so I'm curious how you sort of like bridge that divide and do sales and marketing when there's such like it's a heavy educational lift associated with the product,
especially since it's so expensive too.
Right.
It's really, really tough, man. We've literally invented a sport and also a product, so we're not making things easy for ourselves. The most important thing that we could do is just like kind of the first year was just spent getting the product in the hands of people and going to the beach. Like we set it up. We try to be as resourceful as possible. Like this is a sick idea for you guys. Like there's one summer where we drove around and we set up Crossnets in front of billboards. So instead of buying the $50,000 billboard, we would just set up the Crossnet and we would leave it there, and it would literally stay for like a month, and it was just like standstill traffic and people just staring at it, looking and taking pictures.
Oh my god! I
so.
love it.
Yeah, just becoming resourceful like that and trying to get exposure, because once you play it once, like you're hooked and you're going to talk to somebody about it.
Totally.
And imagine if we had one set up right here, like imagine how many impressions we'd get over the next like 4 hours.
Totally.
So it's doing that, working with like local beach communities and schools is really good. One thing that's been great, I know we're talking about it later on, is getting into physical education.
Right.
We're in over like 10,000 schools now.
Yeah.
Wow. So Crossnet is
that's
literally,
crazy.
bro, yeah.
How do you even approach? Is there anyone to aggregate those, or that's just all blocking and tackling?
So it's a little bit of blocking and tackling, but also every school gym teacher buys from a catalog. And so there's like 5 different catalogs.
I didn't know that.
So we sell.
What else is in it besides like dodgeball? And
There's a dude. It's like a
How big is this catalog?
It's 400 pages.
No
It's just a bunch of
way.
shit, dude. It's like volleyball nets, it's basketball hoops, it's like frisbees, all that.
Yeah.
So
Also, you
we're
get 'em
like,
young too.
Yeah.
It's like a
yeah.
smart.
So we're front and center, like in that in all those catalogs.
Really
And the
genius.
nice thing is like, the gym teachers already have the stuff that they've had for 100 years, so they're looking when they do have budget. They're looking to buy something new and exciting.
Totally. And as a student, you'd love when they had like, all right, what Frankenstein thing have they dreamt up for this week?
So yeah, so the kids will come in. They'll have a week-long curriculum at school. They'll be hyped because it's like, oh, it's that's that game I saw on TikTok.
Right.
The teacher looks cool because he's got the cool game.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
The kids play, have a dope time, and then they go home and run to their parents and are like, yo, I need to get this game that I played in school. So it's just kind of like a full circle. But no, I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, like, when is the last time either of you guys walked into a store and spent $100 on something that you didn't know that you needed? Like, you're not going to look at a Crossnet.
It's consideration windows. Like, the higher the AOV, the longer the consideration window is going to be. So you do need that, like, upfront education.
So digital awareness in person at the school systems, and just trying to create as many events as possible.
Yeah.
Is like where we're at.
What about college?
Amazon crushes.
Yeah.
We're the #1 volleyball net on Amazon.
Really?
We're not even
That's
like
sick.
We're fake
crazy.
volleyball net.
What about college towns? I think those would similarly have that organic flavor. I
Yeah.
remember, like, spike ball was huge when we were in college, right? And one guy group had it. They, people pop in, watch it. That looks fun as hell. And then, like, you blink and every guy group has it in their quad or whatever.
So college has been cool. We have we're in intramural programs at like 250 schools now.
Like competitive, like
you could sign up.
Oh, shit.
Like the University of North Carolina, like Chapel Hill has a Crossnet program.
Wow,
So
that's
like
electric.
7 p.m. on the quad, they're playing Crossnet,
Damn,
which is like great exposure for like
Insane.
Yeah.
for us, right? So we're trying to build as many of those activations, and that's completely free. Like they're paying money for the Crossnet.
Totally.
And like I'm hyping up on social from time to time. But so trying to create as many of those events as possible. The ones that don't work is like when I ship it to a college kid and hopefully that he sets it up.
Hopefully,
and now I just spend $30 to ship and I spend $80 on the product. Like,
Yep.
That's where we've lost a lot of money over the years. But like working with established programs that could get people together, that's been money for us.
What about like the NIL, like name, image, and likeness stuff with college athletes?
Yeah, so that popped off like a year ago or so.
Yeah,
it was essentially for
pretty
like
recent.
those at home, like college athletes, or you don't even need to be an athlete, can now make money off their name, image, and likeness.
Right.
So when that was announced, we had like 400 people come inbound in like the first 24 hours.
Wild.
It's like, yo, I want to be a Crossnet athlete. Yo, I want to be a Crossnet athlete. Like, all right,
I
that's
do the same
sick.
thing.
Yeah.
So we had a graphic designer like working around the clock, creating like little graphic cards so they could post on story and
trading
tag
cards,
us.
baseball cards.
It looked sick. It was really cool. But what it led to was a massive loss for the company, actually.
Oh,
Because we
interesting.
ended up shipping Crossnets to 350 people.
Right.
So, I mean, the COGS on that alone, just throwing out a number, it might have been a $70,000 project.
Right.
And then out of the 300 people, we got like 15 good videos. So it's like, like what a waste.
Yeah.
It was just us trying to like have too much clout and trying to make, like, it could have been very good.
Yeah.
What we
I mean,
should have
your
done-
UGC is incredible.
It's very, like, our, like, high quality stuff like this never performs well for us.
Right.
It's always
Backyard video.
it's always the mom that's shooting it on her iPhone with like
Totally.
her finger over the lens a little bit that actually performs for us.
Well, does the consumer I feel like they pick up on when it's overproduced.
Yeah.
It's
100%.
just like,
100%.
100%.
this is a normal person just like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should have started small, man. We should have picked 10 people, like really vetted them.
Right.
Should have, and we were paying them on top of it. So some of these people, if the girl had 120K TikTok followers, maybe she was making $200 a month. Or if this guy had 1 million, maybe I'm paying him 500. Like, Yeah, live and learn. So we scaled that operation down. So we got like 10 people on our roster now, and they're very good because they'll create those community events at their college, or we'll drop a new product, and I know I could go to them for like some good GGC. Right. So it's good. I mean, overall we've made good relationships, but I definitely wish we didn't go too hard.
Approach it differently.
Yeah. Also, you're probably a first mover, right? I'm sure, like, after the dust settled a little bit, you can probably vet them in a way that you couldn't at the beginning. Absolutely. Of, like, who actually has that innate talent and, like, knows how to sell and, like, knows what you're trying to accomplish.
For sure.
All right, Ron, so, Obvi operates in a pretty crowded space, and you've really honed on a specific type of consumer or addressable market, almost like a space within a space in your category. And so I think it's really easy for brand founders to like sort of want to be everything to everyone all the time. But you and I have had some really interesting conversations about just sort of unwavering focus. So I'm curious sort of how you figured out, that you would go in the direction you did and how you positioned Obvi in the market.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I think for us, once we picked female as our demographic, I think we had 2 avenues of this, okay, that we could have gone.
Right.
One was this brand appeals to super young women because it's like playful and fun, or it's going to appeal to women that want to feel like they're young.
Right.
Okay. We studied the demos, and the stickiness you can get from going on a market that's older is way better than like a younger demo, like a Gen Z or millennial.
Right.
So our next focus was like, okay, cool. From day one, even like the influencers we get, we're gonna get like older women.
Right.
Right. Even if you go to our website, like it's like 40-year-old models. Right. Because what we wanted to do was, if you can get a 40-year-old woman to try something and like it and see results, she's gonna tell all her friends.
Totally.
She's gonna stay on the program, and then the person's also gonna help the community grow. So that helped us. I think that being laser focused there helped us, because now who we cater to, it's a 40-year-old woman named Sally in the Midwest. Okay, she typically has fast food 3 to 4 times a week, really bad habits. Our target demo is not the girl going to Equinox 3 times a week and doing hot yoga the other 3 times. Right?
And like, what even is that TAM? Like, people forget. I think
97% of America.
Right. Yeah. Like, when you're in consumer, you do have to design. Like, we're in this little bubble.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think when we took that approach of like, you know what, we'd love to sell to younger people or our friends even.
Right.
But like, that's not going to create LTV.
Right.
That's not gonna.
And you see, CPG Twitter, dude. It's all just like this. Sometimes this echo chamber of like no one actually giving you the feedback that you need to hear.
Because when we started Crossnet, I thought it was going to be for our age.
Yep.
And it's actually parents.
Parents.
99% of our purchasers are moms buying it for their backyard to get their kid off of TikTok.
Yeah.
So like,
true.
As much as I'd like to lean into like our younger content, it's really the 4-year-old who can barely stand up tapping the ball.
Yeah,
totally. That's what sells.
Yeah, and my mom's always trying to get us to like go visit her on Long Island and stuff. Like, that's exactly what she, with every single ridiculous backyard toy you could dream off of. So 100%. It makes a ton of sense.
I think once you align with who you want to sell to, with actual purpose and not desire.
Yeah.
Desire and purpose is like so twisted in e-com.
Right.
Because it's like sometimes people come out with brands or products for the wrong reason.
Right.
And it's for clout, or it's like, oh, I want to like look good in this.
Name drop them.
We'll add it in the B-roll. But I think for us, it was like the purpose is, all right, we want to make money, right? Like that's what we want to do. So how are we going to do that? And I think that's where we honed in on the demo. And that gave us a chance to like kind of crowd some of the crowded people out.
Yeah.
Because they're all going for probably the 1-2% of America, which is all we are usually exposed to.
Yeah. And what's also really interesting about that demographic is they're very on Facebook. So, that's something that I always found. You talk about stickiness and like LTV and all those concepts. That's something that I've always found really fascinating about how you guys have like growth hacked your go-to-market. And so can you just talk about those communities that you've built online, specifically catering to that demographic, and like what you've learned from them? Because I think they're core to how you think about your products and drops and stuff like that. Yeah,
40 to 60-year-olds are still on Facebook, right? And they love it, and then they're preserving it. Right. I truly believe that. And so for us, once we picked the demo, started going after them, the other thing is we were bootstrapped, and we couldn't.
Both were, right?
Yeah, and so around the same amount, with like $10,000-$15,000, right? Like we couldn't release a third product. We started with 2 fruity cereal and cocoa cereal collagen. We couldn't release a third product without knowing it's gonna be a short bet. Like I couldn't mess it up because that would be the end of Obvi. So what we did was, after our first like 200 customers, we told them we were gonna do like a survey. Instead, we were like, wait, what if we just kind of brought them in a focus group? We're like, we can't afford a focus group. So we're like, what is like the grittiest way? Yeah, what's the grittiest way to do a focus group? Was, oh, why don't we just start a Facebook group? So the Facebook community we started was actually just a focus group to figure out what our third launch should be, because we wanted to figure out if we should do peanut butter, marshmallow cereal, or cookies and cream. They all voted. There was like 106 people in it. They voted marshmallow cereal. We launched it, sold out. So it was like, that was the purpose of it. Then we saw they were all starting to talk to each other.
Right.
Like, oh, this is working for you, or this is not.
It's so weird.
So we just started. It's so weird. It's so just strangers.
My sister has like young kids, and there's like parenting ones that are like, has anyone got?
I'm in some, so I'm like, like.
He's like, anyone got like an ear doctor? My kid's got some like weird infection.
Because people want to know from people.
Right.
Yeah. They almost don't.
It's like Reddit almost.
Yeah, they almost don't trust like companies now, as much. So it's why UGC works.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So the community, what we started doing is when we realized people are talking to each other, and it's driving either upsell or just good education on a person-to-person, a consumer-to-consumer end, we just started funneling all our traffic there. So like we were like, once you bought, you were invited there. If you were even thinking about buying in the Facebook comments, we would tell people like, here's the answer to the question you're asking us, but there's thousands of other questions that can be answered in our community. Invited there. Right. Our pop-up on our website was join our community. Like, if you go to we have a landing page that we run ads to join the community that sells nothing. So now it's like 65,000 active women in it, and it's just they're talking all day, every day, just sharing stuff about Obvi. Sometimes they share about like random stuff, like I'm severely going through PMSing right now, like any recommendations outside of like Obvi, and like people just share stuff.
Well, actually, you need some apples.
But I think the community piece is big, and it's what you're doing with your customer base too, right? It's like, it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. So Chris, I want to talk about Good Sport a little bit, and how that partnership with Danny Duncan came to fruition. And I'll share one of my favorite, most hilarious emails I've ever received, and it's from Chris. It was one sentence. I don't think there was a subject line. I think it was all lowercase, and it went, "Hey Tom, do you have any experience wrapping monster trucks?" And that was it. No other context. And you just posted it like a few days ago.
Yeah, we got it wrapped finally. But yeah, dude, this guy named Danny Duncan, massive YouTuber, one of the most popular YouTubers in the States. Kind of, for those that don't know him, he's like a modern day Jackass, like Steve, like Bam Margera, Steve-O, that kind of thing.
Oh, Rip. Those were the days.
Those were the days, right?
It was like MTV music video era.
Yes.
So that's him now for like 16 to 24 is kind of like his demo.
Okay.
All like male, like 98% male, which is like sick for me. Which is fun because I've been selling the fucking moms for 5 years, and I need to sell the kids, which I've wanted to do. And yeah, so Danny, like 7.5 million YouTube subscribers, like 20 across all the other, like crazy power and influence.
Wow. What was his come up? How did that even like happen?
I mean, he's just been grinding on YouTube for like 10 years, and he just has this like massive organic audience. And the thing that he prides himself on is like he's never sold out. Like, I love the Nuth Boys, but they do 100 million different projects.
Totally.
He's never had like his own thing besides just selling his merch.
Wow. Yeah, they dilute themselves.
So,
a lot of them do it at that scale.
Exactly. Yeah. So when and it kind of speaks volumes, right? So how I met him, we reached out to his manager. We wanted to do, it was the year before last year. Yeah, so 2021.
Right.
Yeah, jeez, it's been a long time.
It's 23 now.
Life goes quick. We reached out because we wanted to do a big Black Friday video. So I was like, yo, I want a YouTuber. I want to test this whole concept of paying YouTubers. So we offered him $45,000 for a video, which is a lot of money. And he's like, nah, $250. And I was like, no shot. That's not gonna happen. And because he doesn't do brand deals. He just doesn't like he'll do like one brand deal.
So it's like thrown out there being like, if they're crazy enough to do it, I'll do it.
Exactly. So like he doesn't like water his shit down with brand deals at all.
Right.
And so I'm like, no, I'm sorry, like that's just not gonna happen. But he's like, yo, if you're ever in LA, why don't you come over? And I was like, all right, I'll call your bluff. So I went over to LA, like I was in LA like a few days later.
Right.
Went to his like beautiful like LA house and had a product with me that we one of our new products that we're trying to come out with. So I was like, all right, let's show Danny it. So
which one is it?
We haven't actually released it.
All right.
So we go to Danny's house. It's me, Greg, and Mike. We're all together in LA. And we show up to his house and we start playing and show him the game. He has fun with it. And I'm like, yo, I think this would be cool for your website. Maybe we could like brand it Danny Duncan or whatever.
Yeah.
And just do a co-brand. He's like, let's build a company together. I'm like, oh shit.
The Jackass music starts playing.
I was like 6.
That says a lot about you. You probably left a really good impression right off the gate.
Because at that time, we have been coming up with tons of games that we have.
Right.
I mean, just like a stupid example would be like oversized beer pong.
Right.
Does not fit into Crossnet. Crossnet's become such an established sport, and like we're known for our 4-way games. Like putting out other games under Crossnet, we kind of dilute the Crossnet brand.
Yeah, I get it.
So we're building this new one. It's called Good Sport. Danny's our founding partner on it. And the goal is to build like a modern day Franklin or Wilson. Like when I talk to you, like you're gonna be buying your son's baseball glove in a few years, and it's gonna come from Franklin or it's gonna come from Spalding or Wilson, and you bought that and your parents bought that. Why are we still buying from the same companies when there's a million other companies that come up in every other space, never in sporting goods? So my thesis is creator led plus our innovation. And build like the future backyard in sports.
Oh, I love it.
So I'm hyped for that. So we dropped it in October. We came out with 3 products. SmashNet's our lead product.
Okay. And SmashNet, describe SmashNet for people who are listening.
It's an oversized ping pong / volleyball net.
Okay.
2 people in each side. There's a net in the middle, and you're spiking the ball down.
Yeah.
It's sick.
It looks pretty fun.
It's so much fun. And so we just rolled out to Dillard's, Wegmans, and Shields, and then we roll out to Walmart in May.
Hell yeah.
So
dope.
Yeah, awesome. That's I'm excited to see how that partnership progresses. Yeah. I miss Jackass.
Yeah, it's sweet. It's
dude,
cool.
I was watching the video with you guys with
the big balloon ball. Yeah, that thing was wild.
That
went mega viral.
Ridiculous. Like all my guy groups were
was
like, look at these psychopaths. I was like looking at my story. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I know that guy. He's literally 3 feet away from the guy being launched into the tree.
So sick. So that's been fun, dude. And I think the coolest thing about it is like all the mistakes we've made with Crossnet over the years, all the learnings, we just apply to Good Sport.
Right.
And Good Sport's going to be 100 times better of a company because of all the we've done.
Totally,
with
dude.
Crossnet, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, when VCs say like, you know, we bet on first or second time founders.
Yeah.
Now I totally get it. It's like I wouldn't.
Makes a lot of
I don't know if I would have invested in me either.
Yeah.
But okay, cool, Ron. Back to you. You know, I was in preparing for this podcast. I thought something really insightful you said was around controlling what you can control when so much is out of your control. And I think, especially in the context of what you guys are so good at, like, you know, you work. Everyone in this industry is working all day, every day to try to get TikTok, Meta, Google search to work harder for them. But you talk about like some of those things are sort of just in your backyard and they get overlooked. So I sort of just, you know, love if you could speak to that concept a little bit.
I think when it comes to paid media, right? I think there's a few things that I think that we've approached it a little bit differently, right? Where even after this post iOS thing, right?
Right.
I think the tricky part is like so much of our time goes into like I gotta get my CPA down. I gotta get my CPA down, right? And I see like everyone just banging their head right now. It's why everyone's looking for money too, right? Because its CPA is not coming down.
Right.
And I feel like for us, what we've done is like, all right, we're gonna do our best that we can with an X amount of effort and time to make Meta or TikTok or Google work better, okay? But from there, a platform's a platform. It's not, you can't change what you can't control, right? So like, I think for us, we've done a good balance of like saying, all right, if $60 is our CPA and like the lowest we can get it to is 58, we're okay with 60. We're gonna try and make 60 work. Now let's go to the other side of this and say, all right, what do we need to do in terms of conversion, right?
Right.
If my CPA went up from $40 2 years ago to now 60, I need to get a half more person to buy every single time.
Right.
Okay, so now let me work on just making the conversion funnel go from 2% to 2.25%, right? And I feel like those things are like more in your control, and I feel like there's not enough people focusing on things they can change and control, and they're more so blaming like, oh, Facebook screwed me.
Yeah, totally.
Google screwed me. So I think for us, it's just the approach is we're not going to be able to bring the CPA down.
Yeah.
So how can I get more people to buy?
Yeah, and I think what's something that's interesting, like I was just speaking at that out-of-home conference, right?
Yeah.
And something I like was harping on was like, you recognize that these platforms, they are engines that are designed to extract as much margin out as they can from the situation.
Yeah.
So if you're on Amazon and you're doing like paid advertising, you have two equivalent products, they're gonna try. There's a business incentive, and they're a public company with like a fiduciary responsibility for them to try to extract. Hey, you have 20%.
That's right.
Gross margin. Well, we're taking 5, and then 6, and then 7, and then 8, and like as high as we can before we start actually just probably like ruining the company goes bankrupt.
Yeah.
But like that is at their core what they're designed to do.
And then there's finite amount of inventory.
Right.
That's the other thing. I think people have, even when you just look at TikTok real quick, like people don't realize the For You page is the only place you can get served ads.
Right.
Right. There is literally millions of advertisers looking for a spot on a For You page. Like there's not much inventory. It's why you can't scale past 5, 10K a day on TikTok. You know, it's hard.
Yeah.
So I think it's just shifting the narrative.
Stop 3. These questions are all sort of like brand intersection questions. So with each episode, we did a lot of research of things you guys have in common, things that are different about your business, things that we thought the audience would want to hear. I don't know, the same question, but potentially different takes on the responses. And so the first question is really just talking about, like leveraging community and organic flywheels. And I think we touched on this a little bit, but you guys are some of the best community builders that I've personally seen. And I think when you think about sustainable businesses, they always have community. And I think the reason that is community is what's there that acts as a hedge when the marketing winds are blowing in one direction to the other. And it feels like it's so volatile from week to week or month to month that like having that core community is essentially just like what gives you enough time to figure out which way you have to like reallocate resources.
Absolutely.
And things like that. So I want to just sort of speak to the role of community building and organic flywheels. I know they've been instrumental to your companies now, and maybe how you guys think about them going forward.
Over 7,000 customers like Pet Lab, Chamberlain Coffee, Hero Cosmetics, Spikeball, Dossier, TB12, Pit Viper, 100 Thieves. Tens of millions of packages shipped every year. 50 plus fulfillment centers across the US, Canada, UK, Europe, and Australia. An app store with 50 plus integrations like Shopify, Amazon, NetSuite, and many more. Managed inventory distribution, D2C and B2B fulfillment capabilities, 99.96% of order shipping on time, 99.95% order accuracy rate. Yep, we're talking about ShipOb again. We know picking a fulfillment partner or 3PL is not easy. And equally importantly, we know you never want to have to move or pick another one. That's why we partnered with ShipOb. From 0 to 100 million in sales, ShipOb has you covered.
I'm gonna go first?
Yeah, you go first.
I think for us, community, besides it being a great source of having definitive answers of what to do next for your brand, I think community has become a place where like it is a source for so much for us. Like, you want UGC? We're gonna go drop a quick comment in there and do a giveaway, and we'll have literally 40 pieces of UGC within 2 hours. Yeah. Do you want feedback on your product? These are the most loyal people that will give you true feedback, not butter you up and say, oh yeah, I love it, I love Obvi.
Right.
If you want people to learn from other people, there are people who will like come on our community and be like, I just took the Collagen Burn, which is our fat loss product, it's our number 2 bestseller. I have a massive migraine, right? We love comments like that because now there's like thousands of other people that are gonna go to that post and be like, you didn't drink enough water. What did you take this with? When did you take it? Lower the dosage, go to 2 pills instead of 4. Like, there are people that are doing our job.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The other thing that we did with community is the way we don't spend any money to run it. So when I say that is our overhead for it is managed by 8 admins and moderators. What we did, and I'll take my comment back, we do spend money, but what we did for it was we took our top 10 customers, reached out to them and said, hey, would you like to be an admin and moderator in our community? No requirements of ours. You just need to help customers if you see that they can be helped, okay? You'll be listed as an admin and you'll be showcased as an admin. What you'll get from us is free product for life.
That's sweet.
Okay? That's it. Like, nothing else. They all buy maybe 2-3 things a month, right? Cost to us $25, $30.
Can only really consume. The need for this is only like it's sort of capped in and of itself.
Yeah.
Right?
So they get, we give them some apparel, but we have 8 people working round the clock.
Yeah, it's insane.
With under the measures of because they want to help.
Yeah.
Right. And like this community, they've grown it like from literally 0 to 65,000 women because they're constantly fostering helping. So like you get to see that live. Even if I always tell people like you strip away Obvi from me, that's fine, but I keep the community.
Right.
Because that is one of the most important pieces of building something because these women all have relationships with each other.
It's so crazy how you guys have nurtured it so well. Like it feels like it's so easy for it to like go the other direction sometimes where it's like, if someone says something like I have a migraine, like what's stopping from people like just jumping in and piling on,
Yeah.
So, like
it's we do have a good snowball effect happen where like, oh, me too, a lot of Me Too people.
Right. Which honestly is probably good.
It is great.
That's how you learn, right?
Oh, it's amazing. And so the one thing I think we like, and I think it goes with building in public, it's like you have to be ready for the negatives.
Right.
Like we've re-engineered our product 3 times because first time it's too sweet, second time it's too grainy, and then third time it was a bit too sweet and too grainy. Like we're always tinkering, and so like. But we wouldn't know that
if you didn't get the feedback.
If you didn't get the feedback, 100%. Yeah.
That's good for us too. Like we'll use the community to drop new games, and we're like, yo, you're gonna be the first one in America to have one of the 10 samples.
Right.
And I want you to rip it apart and tell me like what's wrong with it, how do you make it better?
Yeah.
Because like Crossnet that's now out in like a Walmart, that's version 27 at this point.
Right.
We're iterating all the time, not only to save cost but also to make it better.
Right.
It's like being able to like lean on these people is great. Like we don't have the active Facebook group because sadly like. It's not 50-year-old people talking about volleyball. Like we're in like other volleyball groups where they're posting about it, which is sick.
You rethinking it now after hearing that? Like,
always,
you got the mom. The moms are buying.
The moms are. Maybe just hop in ours. just drop some Crossnets.
Right, for real. But the community's been really important, especially when you're just kind of harping on the CPAs being so negative as of late.
Yeah.
Especially like in the winter seasonality. What we've kind of taken action with this year is stop overspending in December and pull back and rely on the community to create content. Do I need content? Do I need awareness? Like, can I lean on these people who are already playing Crossnet at colleges all across America? Let's just tap them instead of just overspending.
Totally. And with seasonality too, you guys can like, instead of hiring someone and then like not needing them in 3 months, you can sort of like flex it up and on as to how much you lean into it, which I think is interesting. And don't you have like talk about volleyball, ESPN, like
So we've done and those all come from building in public. Like
totally.
We had a 30-minute special on ESPN where we had a Crossnet 30-minute special.
That's crazy, dude. What a dream.
Dude, so just we created a sport in our head.
Who let us do this?
ESPN is televising it. Like that is just like the craziest stamp of approval.
Oh my god.
And they came in though. They're like, yo, we have a 30-minute slot for you guys. Do you guys want it? And it was free.
No way.
All we had to pay for was doing exactly what you're doing here.
Right.
We had to film it. We had to rent out a location. So we went in San Diego. There's an Olympic training facility, which is really cool. Like all the Olympians are just training like.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Shredded people. It was so cool.
Sure, dude.
Like the best of all sports were there.
Of course.
So they had this volleyball court. We rented it out. We had it was a doubles tournament. So it was co-ed's doubles tournament. There's 30 different teams. And so they're competing on all different nets, and then they work their way down, like on a big tournament bracket, and the winner got $10,000.
Wow!
And so so that we put.
Dude, that's probably so intense.
But dude, they were going crazy.
I'm sure that was like electric.
And because normally a normal volleyball tournament, like you're not really some volleyball tournaments you're only making like $2,000.
Totally, yeah.
So like this is actually like good real money for these people that like dedicate their life to the sport.
Totally.
So it was an awesome all-day banger. And they ESPN actually gave us 3 commercial slots that we could go sell to like make our money back.
Wow.
So we sold the 3 advertising spots. Made some
Wait,
cash.
that's sick.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Who advertised?
We had Manscaped.
Wow.
Manscaped bought one.
Dream client.
I used the other, just like we ran our own Crossnet ad within it, and then we sold this to somebody else for super cheap. But
This
like,
guy's like a sweet talker, man.
Yeah,
I gotta bring him everywhere.
it was sick. So
just plug the ad drive.
and then you take the ESPN logo, right? And then you go to Wilson, and then Wilson gives us a co-branded Wilson ball. And then you take the Wilson logo and you get into Walmart, and it's just like leveraging those relationships.
Totally.
It's huge.
And it doesn't happen unless you're actively posting,
starting.
you know, and like sharing your stories and shit. Like people naturally, unless you're a shithead, like want somebody like myself to win because like I'm actually I sacrificed my entire life to create a fucking 4-way volleyball net.
Dude, people love the underdog. People love when the good guys win. So I'm with you. Another interesting commonality between your respective businesses is that they're both largely bootstrapped, and I know that's changed, but I mean, you guys got so far with essentially nothing. Almost like, you know, the level of growth that you would expect because of venture money. And so in the consumer space, you think about like all the working capital needs, like it's a cash intensive business, even like arguably more so than mine, and yet you guys didn't raise venture money to pull it off. So how are you able to sort of like make that work, especially in the beginning?
I think just like, I mean, growing up with our mindset, like we didn't get into it a little bit earlier on, but like where I grew up, dude, I was literally recycling cans to keep the electricity on.
Right.
So me and Greg could play World of Warcraft growing up.
Dude,
what
was your character?
Well, actually, sorry, it was Guild Wars. Guild Wars.
Also a good game.
So Guild Wars was that game. But yeah, dude, we grew up from there, like humble beginnings. We had food on the table, like I'd get the new Madden game, but like there's times where like shit was getting pretty dark.
Yeah.
And so I think that mindset of like growing up in that kind of environment has allowed us to become better business owners, because like if I wouldn't spend it from my own personal bank account, the company's not spending it from the company's bank account, because dude, the money's the same. It's my money anyway.
Exactly.
So like you gotta have that mindset. So like we'd sell 50, we rebuy back 100, we rebuy back 250, and we just kept scaling that way. And it wasn't like, the best thing was we weren't bringing on a ton of inventory that was collecting dust.
Right.
And then eventually you get to a point where you just need so much for the retailers. And that's kind of when things started getting very capital intensive. Right. But it's going slow. It's knowing your margins. Like, in the beginning, before we had like a team and everything like that, we were virtually like, yo, my CPA is $50. I'm selling it for $150. My COGS are $30. Like, I know that I'm making $25 on each sale.
Right.
How many sales a day can I make to like hit our overhead? It was a pretty easy model until it got very convoluted.
And we'll talk about retail real soon. And so, Ron, what about you guys?
Yeah, for us, it was different. Like, we wanted to like challenge ourselves to like start with the little and see how far we can get. I think what was the big advantage for us was 3 founders in 3 completely distinct skill sets that literally did not require us to have any overhead. Like, you want a website done? You got Uncle. You want paid marketing done? You have Ash. You want ops and finance and supply chain? You have me.
Right.
So like, there was no need to hire for literally like the first year and a half.
That's dope.
You know, until customer service was our first role we hired.
Yeah.
After a year and a half.
Was it co-packers and stuff? How'd you?
Yeah, we did a 3PL.
Yeah.
We had a 3PL.
Like a heavy operational lift to my business. I wish I could operate leaner.
Yeah. Because you have so much direct sales, right? Too.
Right.
So for us, I think being able to not have overhead, and then number 2, we're coming hot off of a marketing agency of just running media, right? So like day 1, like when we launched June 1st, 2019, we spent $500 that day on Facebook ads. Like, we were Facebook ads minute 1 into the brand. Like, there was no even like launching this to our friends first. It was, we are launching on Facebook ads. Yeah. So we had to make the numbers work from day 1 until we got to like the $30 million mark. We were great, and that's when iOS, all the other shit happened.
So selfishly, best thing that's ever happened to my business.
And that's when it became challenging, man. Like, it became harder. And but up until that point, I think because we leveraged the founder set to have a lot of coverage, and then number 2, I think coming off of direct experience to run media I think helped us a lot. And then lastly, it's like what you guys said in the beginning too. Like this is not hard to sell. Right. The problem is getting more people to consume it. Right? We can get, if you give me $50, $60 CAC, I'll get you unlimited sales.
Right.
The problem is getting $150 LTV.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah.
that's our big thing.
So next question, I think one of the main reasons I wanted you guys together on this episode is you two are some of the best builders in public. You've been doing it really since day one. And folks have generally said to me, you either need, if you don't have a content engine, you need to acquire one or you need to build one. And obviously this is and building one, we'll see how that goes. But you guys have successfully really weaved together your personal brand and your professional brand. And I think in a world where you have some people who are sort of cagey of like what's working for them and their secret sauce, you guys have really, you know, been just ruthless about like everything that's going wrong, everything that's going great. Here's my secret. Here's what's not working. Like here's what we learned, stuff like that. And so, what's the bull case for building in public, and why do you think people should do it?
For me, like when I started, it was out of necessity.
Right.
I didn't have venture-backed friends. I barely knew what Shopify was. I didn't know what venture capital was. I was a kid from a farm with a 4-way volleyball net. And so the only way I knew how to do it was just post on LinkedIn and share my story. And at first it'd be 10 people that would like it, and then it was 50, then it's 100, then it's 1,000.
Yep.
And it just grew, and it was, hey guys, this is what's going on for us, and this is how we're expanding. And I just posted that story because like, I have so many friends and people I've met in my life that are just stuck at their full-time jobs. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I know, because they tell me every day how miserable they are, and that they have an idea, but they're too scared to launch it because maybe they just don't want to...
Failure.
They don't want to risk what could happen, what could go wrong. So instead, they text me and say, hey man, only 42 more years till I can retire. It's like, it's just like...
It's rough.
It's sad. So
it's tough.
And it's not saying one life is better than the other, but like...
Right.
I just want to empower people to at least take a chance on themselves, because you can always go back to your other job. I can always go get a job at Uber again. So
I've always felt that way.
Yeah.
You know, you can always go back, especially with a college degree. Like
also with all the people you learn along, you meet along the way.
100%.
Like if anyone's company went boom, to be honest, that's my first hire.
Yeah. So like the way I think about it is like I think this whole concept of regret is just like such a disgusting thing, and thankfully I'll never have that for myself, but I don't want that for my friends, and I also don't want other people. So like it's really empowering to get people to like, even just in the comments or writing back to my newsletter being like, yo, thank you so much, this is really resonating, and this is like helping me start my company.
Yeah,
it makes me feel good, even if there's even if they're not buying Crossnet. Maybe they're sharing it in a conversation. Maybe they know the program director at the YMCA and makes a suggestion.
Totally.
Because he read my newsletter and it struck this like. So it's building up that good, feel good, and also just...
goodwill.
Yeah, it's just goodwill, and it just works. And it's just like who I am as a person, because like, who the fuck am I? I grew up in a farm in Connecticut, and now we're in Manhattan.
The glass truck.
So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing, and it just... Then I ended up connecting with the buyers, and they're seeing that story, and then they resonate, you know, so...
What about you, Ron?
Yeah, I think I can echo a lot of what Chris said. I think for me, I think there's mainly two things. One was, I feel like there is this, when we started the brand, there was this a lot of like secrecy, right? Like, oh dude, I figured it out. Like I know how to run ads. Like I can't tell you though. I'm not gonna tell you anything, right? Or I have a supplier. I can't let you figure out who it is.
My co-packer's fire.
Yeah, like my 3PL is so good, but I can't tell you who it is. And I'm just like, wait,
that sucks.
That like sucks because I'm gonna figure it out. But like, why are you doing this? And so I was like, what if we went completely the other opposite side, like just share it all, right? What's really gonna happen? Are you gonna start another Obvi? Cool, to be honest, that's gonna help our category.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's in a way, because now there's even more, you're gonna expose it to more people. So more people know about collagen, they're gonna look for collagen, overall trickle effect. It's our job to market.
Yeah, thanks for paying for all those Google searches.
Exactly. So went with that one theory, and then number two, I think was, I feel like this is definitely not the last thing I'm gonna do. So personal brand, selfishly speaking, for Ash, Ankit, and I, is very important to grow at the same time, because Obvi is one of the many things we hope to do.
Yeah. The last question in stop 3 here was really the evolution from D2C to retail. And so I'm curious how that's changed your respective businesses, because it's really almost like a full reset and restart. And like, at least you're armed with everything you learned while you were scaling direct to consumer. But I'm just really curious, and I think a lot of people are curious, is like, what has had to change as you've thought about having retail, where, you know, people aren't getting all that education and support that you've been building online? And so can you just talk about that transition for your respective organizations?
Yeah. For us, it was always important because, like, I wanted to be sold wherever sports were sold.
Right.
If you're going to the beach, you're on your Martha's Vineyard vacation for 2 days, you go to Dick's Sporting Goods, you pick up a volleyball net.
Right.
And so it was important for us to be in that category. And the nice thing that worked with us is that our game is pretty innovative. And it's a very stale category, like I was talking about before.
It's true.
So the buyers have always been super receptive. Even just cold DMs like, yo, I got this dope 4-way volleyball game. It would look sick in your category. And they're like, yeah, it actually would look sick.
Right,
like, you're absolutely right.
Also, just being super authentic in the DMs. I do the same thing. Where I'm like, I'm just going to be myself.
Yeah,
it might be a curse word or something in there.
100%, dude. So that's worked really well with the buyers, and also, I mean, it's translated into sales. Like, we haven't got kicked out of any stores yet, so and they keep ordering.
Hey, dude, nice. God bless. That's a rare thing to say. I feel like none of the hard resets.
But it does allow you to think about things in a different light, because you do need operations specialists to print the labels. One horror story I always shared, like the first time we sold them to Dick's, we had the label off by like, 2 inches. There's like a $45,000 chargeback on like a $500,000 order. It's just like so petty.
And what's explain a chargeback real quick?
A chargeback is when Dick's is supposed to pay you $500K in 60 days, and they pay you $500 minus. I'm not gonna do math on the spot. Minus that.
It's $455.
And you're out. You don't get the money. And it's
why do you get a chargeback?
Because the label's in the wrong spot, or you don't route the truck at the right time. Just stupid, petty.
Right.
And you have to have a full-time employee that has to read routing guides all day long and does stuff to make sure you're compliant.
Right.
But it's just so annoying, and it really hurts your cash flow when when you get a $50K charge back that you weren't expecting.
Especially if you've spent that money, right?
Exactly. But no, it's been good. But also on the flip side of things, it allows us to become much more predictable when we're like building our 2023 model.
Right.
Because I already have all of my pre-orders in from all of my retail accounts last November. So I could, assuming that they order everything they say they're going to order, which is also another conversation. But I know I'm going to make X amount of money from retail this year. I can now build out my operating model around that. And it also have stretch goals for my salesperson.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, predictability. It's like you're getting a PO.
I'm getting a PO. I know my margin. This is my OpEx.
Right.
How do I build a model that's profitable?
Yeah.
And then how do I build a stretch goal? And what happens when we hit those stretch goals?
It helps a lot.
Yeah.
Helps a lot.
So that's what we're leaning into this year, is like Amazon and the B2B side.
Right.
And D2C is like our lowest channel.
Got it.
Amazon's number 2 and B2B is number 1.
It's crazy. You spend like years focusing on D2C and then it goes boom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotta follow the money.
Yeah, you gotta follow the money.
Ron, what about you guys?
So for us, retail is the biggest challenge in the world. Like, we are so bad at it. In the sense of like, there's so many things we didn't know when we did our first retail rollout, which was Vitamin Shop. And like, if you look at our packaging, there are little things that we never even caught. Like, our logo is so damn small, you don't even know what the brand is. Okay?
At least, I mean, this looks good on shelf though.
It looks good on shelf, but that's all it is. It looks good.
Yeah.
You're not picking it up and buying it because it doesn't tell the full story. Like, why is it a protein, right? Why isn't it just called collagen, right? Or like, why is the logo, why is the brand smaller than the product name, right? Like, there's so many things we didn't catch. So Vitamin Shop has been, I think we're a very average brand there. Like, we're not going to be kicked off. They're renewing us, but we are not like
crushing.
We're not crushing.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, like, because we got to learn from it and not have to like lose a lot of money from learning, the Walmart rollout we have nationwide in August, I think we're doing a ton.
Obvi,
like
Walmart, nationwide, August.
Like, even if you see our logo there versus this, we're in the midst right now of a complete refresh.
Right. Interesting.
And it's all because we're going to Walmart. Yeah. So what I'll say is the impact retail can have on your brand is like, you'll literally reconsider everything. For it. Yeah. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. I think you have to do what works for you what we did with Vitamin Shop was, okay, this is working on D2C, it should work here. It didn't.
Right.
We're very average.
Completely different game.
Completely different game. Now with Walmart though, we're gonna be way more prepped because like we're changing everything. It's the whole thing. Yeah. So it's big learning there.
And do you think you're gonna fully change both the D2C and the Walmart?
We have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
And that
because eventually that needs to become a bigger part of the business, right?
That was a pill to swallow. But we've realized if we want to crack 50 million or like 50 to that $100 million range, you have to do retail.
Right.
If you want to do retail, our packaging has to change and our branding has to change. And if we want to change packaging and branding, it has to change on D2C too. So you reverse back out of what your end exit goal is. And if you realize you have to do these things, then you have to get ahead of it.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think it's also really important that you learned with Vitamin Shop before Walmart.
Oh my
God. You talk to all these people and they're like, oh, I want to be in Target tomorrow. No, you need to start at a 10-door location.
It's so true.
And learn.
I mean, people being like, I'm rolling out nationwide. It's like, and this is their first retail execution. I'm like, that's actually probably the worst
thing you can do. I was really upset. Not upset, but I wasn't too happy that Walmart was rolling us out nationwide.
Yeah.
Because it was like, it's not what we asked for.
Right.
But it was, they just see so much excitement in the category right now, so they wanted to do it. But now it's like,
you gotta support it.
You gotta support it, but it's like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, so stop 4 on our route today is the tongue-in-cheek version of the hot seat, which we're calling the hot box today.
Box. I love it.
So it's going to be sort of a this or that.
Could call it Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels? It's going to be a this or that focused game where I'm going to give you 2 things, and as quick as you can, you pick the one that's more appealing to you or you identify better with. So we'll do Chris and I'm going to ask the question. You're both going to answer. Chris, we'll have you go first. Ron, you go immediately after.
Okay.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. We still need to figure out a sponsor for this segment. I feel like there's some really good low-hanging fruit.
We sold $6 million our first year and did $80 million in sales last year. That's what the COO of Adventure Challenge, a longtime customer of ShipOb's, shared with ShipOb the other day. The pace of growth for Adventure Challenge has been insane, but it wasn't all positive. It started with a failed crowdfunding project. Then, investors assured them that their business would fail. They raised $0 in outside capital. And it somehow only took a few years to hit $80 million in sales. They started off fulfilling all orders themselves. They'd have U-Hauls packed with thousands of products, making endless trips from their storage unit to the post office. It was not scalable. It was definitely hurting their growth. It definitely wasn't fun. That's when ShipOb started their partnership with Adventure Challenge. By being able to focus on growing the business and product development, sales took off like a rocket ship. While Adventure Challenge initially focused on D2C sales, their popularity started driving other conversations. They started to stock several hundred smaller boutiques across the country, then Francesca's, then Kohl's, and while they're based in California and most of their customers are in the US, the word of mouth and viral videos on TikTok and Instagram started driving demand around the world. So then they started filling orders out of Canada, and then the UK, and now Australia. From a failed Kickstarter and getting $0 in outside investment on day one to over $80 million in revenue, Adventure Challenge has defied the odds and built a global powerhouse brand alongside their partnership with ShipOb, who's there to help you completely unlock your brand's growth. Read the entire story at shipob.com/adventure-challenge.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Coffee.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Sunset.
D2C or DTC?
Tea.
Neat or messy?
Neat.
Neat.
Corgi or golden retriever?
Corgi.
Golden retriever.
Winter or summer?
Summer.
Winter.
Yeah, we get it. Tennis or golf?
Tennis.
Golf.
Pineapple pizza or candy corn?
Oh.
God.
Pineapple pizza.
Candy corn.
Live music or DJ?
Live.
Advertisement or advertisement?
The first one.
Yeah, the first one.
Live in space or underwater?
Space.
Space. I hate fish.
Fight 1 horse-sized duck or 1,000 duck-sized horses?
1 horse-sized duck.
1 horse-sized duck.
Sweet snacks or salty snacks?
Sweet.
Call or text, or I probably should add the random audio messages.
Voice note.
Voice
all
note.
day. All fucking day.
Reading or writing?
Reading.
Work remote or work on-site?
On-site.
Remote.
Do laundry or do the dishes?
Laundry.
Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, or TikTok?
LinkedIn.
Twitter.
Dancing or people watching?
Dancing.
People watching.
Cocktails or beers?
Cocktails.
Feel too hot or too cold?
Feel too cold.
Too hot.
You get one animal to protect you against a horde. Who wrote this? Against a horde of zombies. You picking a gorilla or a grizzly bear?
Grizzly bear.
Grizzly bear.
Give up bread for life or cheese for life?
Oh God. Neither.
Bread.
Oh, cheese. Yes.
Air guitar or air drums?
Air guitar.
Air guitar.
Board games or video games?
Video games.
Board games.
$50 on red or black?
Black.
Black.
Start early, leave late.
Leave late.
Leave late, yeah.
Fiction or nonfiction?
Fiction.
Fiction.
Where you travel next, Europe or Asia?
Europe.
Europe.
Rich and famous or rich and unknown?
Rich and unknown.
Rich and unknown.
As we built in public, literally all. Playlists or podcasts?
Playlist.
Cardio or weights?
Weights.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Speak to animals or speak 10 languages?
Speak 10 languages.
Animals.
Yeah, I think animals too. Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Beach house or lake cabin?
Beach
Did you
house.
do that?
Beach house.
I might have done that. Telepathy or teleport?
Teleport.
Truck ads or billboards? Don't fuck
Truck
this
ads.
one
Okay.
up. Receive good news or bad news first?
Bad news
news.
first.
All right, well, the bad news is we have come to stop 5 on
Ooh.
driving performance.
Love the transition.
Yeah, you
But
see-
that had to work, right?
But yeah, guys, honestly, this was a lot of fun.
Oh,
Thanks for
dope.
joining me today.
Super
I want to quickly give you guys a chance to plug yourself. So where can people find Obvi? Where can people find Crossnet? And then also where can they find you guys if they want to learn more?
Yeah, crossnetgame.com. A bunch of major retailers sell it. Follow me on Chris Mead on LinkedIn or Twitter or social Instagram, and also I write a weekly newsletter called Cross Commerce. It's literally about everything we talked about today.
Yep.
All your fuck ups, all the lessons we're going through, and just trying to help you become an entrepreneur.
And what retailers?
We got Dick's, Academy, Shields, Wegmans, Dillard's, Toys R Us, Walmart, Sam's Club. The list keeps going, but yeah, all those are there.
Go get Crossnet.
Yeah.
Obvi, you can find it at myobvi.com. You can find myself, Obvi CEO on Twitter, or Ron Shah on LinkedIn. Just released a podcast called Chew on This, where we do bite-sized D2C commentary about our brand and other things that are going on in the space. So check out chewonthis.io. And you can also find Obvi in Vitamin Shop and then Walmart in August.
Cool. Well, let's go take this truck and check out some of those places.
Let's do it.
Great job.
Great job.
Great job.